Hey, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. This is Coast's Caregiver Coffee. My name is Matt Estrad. I'm a gerontologist in the greater New Orleans area, and I'm here with you as I have been for the last few months, every Monday at 12 noon to offer some kind of caregiver education. And today we're going to talk about falls and fall prevention. Um, I am just a little bit about me. I have been partnering with the Council on Aging in St. Tammany for over 5.5 years as their caregiver support group leader. We've met at least 4 Tuesdays each month since then. So that's many sessions. That's over 250 at this point. And I just learned so much, and I think I get as much as the caregivers do out of that. Since March, because of the pandemic, we've not been meeting in person, but we've been meeting on the Zoom platform. So if you are a caregiver, or even if you are a family member of someone who receives care, I encourage you to join our group. You can send me an email at matt@carepartnermentoring.com, and I'll be happy to send you all the information that you need to join us or to consider joining. And it's amazing that the information that I get, that people tell me that when they join the group, they said, I've known about your group for a year, I've known about your group for 2 years, and either they couldn't schedule it, or they just weren't comfortable, or they didn't know what to think about it. So I encourage you to, of course, send me an email and let me know what questions or concerns that you have if you're reluctant to join a support group. Most people, they really enjoy it, and we get people coming back over and over again. We have regulars, we have seasoned caregivers that have been with us for a while, and I'll even say that we have people who are no longer taking care of somebody. They're a former caregiver of somebody, and they didn't have time or didn't make time to come when they were a caregiver, but they find comfort in coming now and being able to learn more about their past situation, and also being able to share the knowledge forward to everybody that's a current caregiver. So we value that. If you're a former caregiver, we welcome you as well. All right, so let's talk about the topic, and I will close again with just a reminder about the support groups that we have on Tuesdays. But we're talking about falls, and the source for this is the CDC, which is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. They have some great brochures on home safety, on falls, that I'll probably cover other topics from this with sources from the CDC in the future. This one's about falls, and I'm using a checklist that's called a home fall prevention checklist for older adults. And I would say that they're for anybody. I think this just makes sense to make sure that we have a safe home. Now, certainly, your chances of falling, although it's not a normal part of aging, it is something that increases. And in fact, let me read some statistics from this very checklist. Now, this is an old statistic. It's from 9 years ago, but I would bet the numbers have only gone up. So in 2011, nearly 23,000 people over the age of 65 died, and 2.4 million were treated in emergency departments around the country because of falls. So this is something that we want to work very hard and diligently to prevent. It is worth the time. It's worth the effort. So we're going to go through some general tips on fall prevention, but also we're going to go to certain rooms of the house, like the bathroom, the kitchen. And I've gone through this list with groups before, and I would say, even though this is a pretty long list, it's not comprehensive. It's not. There are still some things that we thought about that are not included on this list. So just keep that in mind, and I will put this in the notes of this, or the description of the video for today. So let's get started on this. We start very broad, looking at just the floors in any room, and this checklist is in the form of questions, and they also have a follow-up suggestion or clarification. I won't necessarily read all of the follow-ups, but I should be able to get to all of the questions. So think about your own home or your relative's home as we're going through this. So the first one, and this is floors. When you walk through a room, do you have to walk around the furniture? All right, or is it a clear shot? Do you have clear paths? Do you have throw rugs on the floor? So a throw rug would be anything that is not like attached firmly to the ground. Like there's carpet that covers the whole floor, but then there are runners and throw rugs that can be a trip hazard, that can slip. Are there papers, books, towels, shoes, magazines, objects on the floor? That can be a hazard. And I have children, so of course I have all of these and more things on the floor. And I know that we have to look out here, and we do our best to pick up and reduce that hazard. Do you have to walk over wires, cables, extension cords, or anything like that? This requires some action for sure. You want to tape down cords on the floor or on the baseboard, or even consider having an electrician professionally put in another outlet, or find some way to route the cables. Moving on to stairs and steps. So you may not have them, but someone you love may have stairs and steps. You want to, again, just like on the floor, you want to not have papers, newspapers, boxes, shoes, all that kind of stuff. I have a bad habit of doing this because I will put objects up against the wall but still on the steps. So next time I go upstairs, I grab it and I bring it upstairs. But it's something I need to do, either not do it all or find a different way to make it where it's not on the stairs. Checking the structural integrity of the stairs. Are any of the steps broken? Are they uneven? Are you missing any light over the stairway? If you have carpet on the stairs, is the carpet missing, or is it ripped, or is anything loose? As far as the light switches, you should have a light switch for the lights over the stairs. You should have it at the bottom of the stairs and the top of the stairs. If not, that's something an electrician would have to help you with also. Of course, you want to make sure any bulbs are still working, they're on. The handrail, make sure that it does have a handrail, and make sure that it is firm. It is something that you can grab on, and there's not a chance that it's going to come out of the wall. It should be attached to studs. It shouldn't be loose. So you want to make sure that you do have a railing, and on both sides too, and as well as make sure that it is holding things up. All right, let's move to the kitchen. We have two suggestions here for the kitchen. Are things that you use often, are they within arm's reach, or do you constantly have to reach on your tippy toes, and you shouldn't do this, get on a chair to reach something that's high up? So if it's an ingredient or equipment or something you use pretty often, think about relocating it to somewhere where it's easy, where you don't have to reach very hard, because even just on your tippy toes and reaching, it could do something to your back or your joints, or you could ultimately fall. And we should all have a step stool, because sometimes we do need to reach something up high when we don't use it that often. And you want a step stool that has a railing at the top. Kind of makes it's a full sort of handle that you reach on, rather than just simply having like a step that is the shape of a shoebox or a block or something like that. You want a handrail that you can grab onto as well, and it makes it easy to transport too. You can get these at any of the hardware stores, the big ones and the small ones, etc. Bathrooms. Many falls happen in the bathrooms. So one obvious one is the floor of your tub or your shower stall. Is it slippery, or do you have a grip in there? You can have like an external rubber grip that you put in there that has suction cups, or you can sometimes put, some people prefer like a sort of grip tape, especially if it's a shower, because I'm not sure what that would be like to sit on, but you can get some kind of grip tape, and not just inside the tub, but do you have a step? Do you have a big garden tub and a step out of there? Because we have, even in our home, we step out of the garden tub, or my wife does, and we have a mat. Before we had like a grip tape, adhesive tape, or like a abrasive tape is what I'm looking for. It's kind of like sandpaper, so she can get her grip. But right now it's something that is rubber. And then what about support getting in and out of the tub or even next to the toilet? You want to think grab bars. Check with your insurance company, especially if it's a Medicare Advantage program. They may have handrails and other types of home safety equipment that they will get for you. Just remember, if you are installing a handrail rather than getting a contractor or handyman, you want to make sure that it's securely into the wooden studs and not just into the sheetrock that you see, because that handrail will come right out if you put any weight on it. So make sure that your contractor's doing that. I would assume that they are if they're licensed, but you just want to make sure that that is happening. They also have suction cup ones that stick onto fiberglass or plastic, but you want to be careful with those because eventually they will pop off. So that might take some type of maintenance, and I encourage you to look into special tips if you have that type of handrail or grab bar. Looking at the bedrooms, a lot of this has to do with lighting. Of course, you want to look back at everything that we talked about before. Making sure floors are clean, making sure that the cords are not a trip hazard. So as far as the beds, is there a light that is reachable from the bed? Is it right there on a nightstand, and still, is it low enough where you can reach and get it? Or do you have the clapper? Remember those? Is the path from your bed to the bathroom, is it dark? Or do you have it lit up with a night light that can be motion censored, or it can be, it can automatically come on if it's dark? But some are also, they sense light, but they also sense motion if a night light bothers you when you're trying to sleep. There are also lights that you can put, believe it or not, in your toilet bowl, so that you see the toilet at night. You see the light coming out of the bowl. Very interesting. All right, so that's all the rooms of the house that we've gone through, and we could talk about the garage. We can talk about a back patio, furniture. We're talking about the lawn. So there's still lots of opportunity. There's still scenarios that the CDC checklist doesn't cover, but I do want to mention some other tips that they have in here. Do exercises. It's important to do exercises to keep your balance, to keep your leg strength. Christy here at Coast on Facebook Live every day, every weekday, she's doing exercises. A lot of these are going to help you to prevent falls. Have your doctor or your pharmacist look at the medicines and pay close attention to anything that makes you sleepy, that makes you dizzy, that could interact with other medications, whether over the counter or prescription. It's important to have your eyes checked, because if your glasses are not, allowing you to see close to 20/20, that can be a danger right there. There may not be clutter, but you might still run into something. Remember to get up slowly after you sit down or lie down. Wear shoes inside the house and outside of the house. Improve your overall lighting around the whole home. Make sure it's uniform so you don't have dark areas and light areas. You want to reduce glare where you can with shades or curtains. Contrasting colors are very important. For example, you don't want to have, you increase your chances of falling if you have a situation where you have a brown leather sofa and then you also have a similar brown colored hardwood floor or rug or carpet or anything like that. You want to be able to distinguish the floor from furniture, and hopefully furniture from other pieces of furniture. And this can be very important in the bathroom as well. Most of us probably have a white toilet seat, white toilet bowl, and many of us also have a white floor. So when our eyes, whether you have dementia or not, it might be hard sometimes to distinguish where the floor stops and the toilet begins. So many people, especially with dementia, they have visual spatial issues with depth perception, and they may not sense where the toilet starts. So something easy that you can do there is replace the toilet seat and lid with a different color. Now, I know it's not going to match. You're going to have a white bowl, white tank, and a different color seat, but what's really important is going to be the safety of yourself and your loved one in that case. Something that people have brought up in giving this talk before is animals. The list does not mention animals, but I have 3 dogs myself, and they crowd around me when I'm cooking, hoping that I will drop something intentionally or unintentionally. And if I turn too quickly, and they're big dogs, they're big and small, I've almost tripped sometimes on them because they're not, they don't want to move. They're waiting for something. And the last thing that I will close with, based on personal experience, is that we have a center island in the kitchen, and the dishwasher door comes down, and there's about 8 inches between the lid of the door of the dishwasher and the island. And I preach to my family not to try to walk sideways in between there, lift up the door, and I try my best to set an example and not do that myself. 9 times out of 10 I will lift that door and not cheat and scoot through there. That's really important because it's easy to trip even when especially when you're sidestepping, and it's just not worth it. So I encourage you, if you have that sort of setup or things cluttered naturally in your kitchen, identify hazards like that and implement them so that you're safe, because I think that I could fall, anybody could fall in that type of scenario. So as always, use common sense, be safe. I'm going to put this in a few minutes after this is archived. I will put a link to the CDC checklist and the website so you can look at other home safety situations. So I encourage you to go through this, because if you're just watching this and it's interesting, then it's really just entertainment. But if you're going to take this and it's interesting, and then you're going to print it out, or you're going to look at it and you're actually going to go through your home and do this, then that's really what we want to do. And that's really how we stay safe. This is how we stay in our homes and avoid going into a facility or a nursing home or anything like that. So try to see this is some effort to put it into action, but I really hope that y'all do this. I do it so you can take it and then run with it, not for entertainment. So look for that link. And again, you can always ask if you have other suggestions about preventing falls. Send me an email. If you have questions about preventing falls or any topics you want to see presented here, send me an email at Medicare Part Mentoring. And finally, if you have questions about the caregiver support group that I run, you don't have to be a caregiver. You can just be a family member of somebody who has a certain condition that needs care. You can even be a former caregiver. We appreciate your experience and your wisdom. Send me an email. I'll be happy to share the calendar with the exact dates, the conferencing link and all that. You can join us by video. You can just join us by phone. But so whatever you're comfortable with. And I hope to get to meet you and see you online in the future. I know it went a little long right here, but better to be long and provide a lot of information rather than leave some things out. So I hope that this has been a blessing to you and that you appreciate the information. And I will see you next Monday at 12 noon for Caregiver Coffee, presented by the Council on Aging in St. Tammany. Bye for now.